Stop trying to memorize muscles from a textbook. Learn them this way instead. The first muscle I'm going to draw is the infraspinatus. So the infraspinatus attaches all the way down that medial border of the infraspinous fossa, all the way down to the bottom. It attaches all the way along the spine of the scapula, crosses over that shoulder joint, all the way up here, and it attaches onto this posterior aspect of the greater tubercle of the humerus. So the muscle fibres are working in this direction. The infraspinatus muscle is mainly for lateral or external rotation of the shoulder joint. Supraspinatus. Supraspinatus sits on this supraspinous fossa in the superior angle, comes down here, and it goes underneath the acromion process. So it kind of disappears underneath that bony ridge and pops out just here, attaching to a similar position to the infraspinatus muscle. So that's the tendon of it. It's important for shoulder abduction, initiating shoulder abduction, and also stabilizing. And these two together are two of the 4 rotator cuff muscles. On the side of the infraspinatus is the Teres Minor. The Teres Minor has an attachment on the lateral border of the scapula and a very similar attachment at the top to the infraspinatus muscle. So I think of this muscle as like a little finger that attaches to the side of this muscle, and they work together. So both of these muscles, which are both rotator cuff muscles, do lateral rotation of the shoulder. Teres Major sits on that inferior angle of the scapula, so a bit lower. Major is always bigger than the minor, and it goes through here underneath the armpit with the lats actually. So it will go underneath the armpit like so and attach onto the front of the humerus. So its job, even though it's similar name and same position, Teres Minor does lateral rotation. Teres Major, with that attachment on the front, will do medial rotation of the shoulder. Have a look at the rhomboids. Now I've drawn the spinous processes on. So C7, the most prominent vertebra here at the base of the neck. Rhomboid Minor will attach C7 and T1, and it has that downward alignment like so, attaching down there onto that upper medial border of the scapula. So that would be rhomboid minor. Major is always bigger, and major goes from that inferior angle, and it has an attachment onto 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we can draw the fibres like so. These muscles work very closely together, and their main action is retraction of the scapula. So we've got rhomboid major in green and rhomboid minor in orange. Another muscle that has an attachment on the scapula, and its attachment on the superior angle of the scapula here, is levator scapula. Levator scapula originates at the top here on C1, 2, 3, and 4, and it comes down the neck here onto that superior angle. And if my client here lifts the shoulder up here, okay, we can see levator scapula working for shoulder elevation. I'm going to draw the Triceps Brachii muscle. Now the Triceps Brachii does extension of the shoulder joint, backward movement like so. It has an attachment point on the olecranon process down here at the elbow, and it comes up. Now tricep is 3 heads. There's one attachment on the lateral edge of the humerus. There's an attachment on the medial side of the humerus here. And then you have the long head of the tricep that comes up and attaches onto that infraglenoid tubercle of the scapula, just like so. So the long head comes down that way. And then you've got the very strong attachment points of the lateral and the medial edges before it comes down and inserts onto the olecranon process. Now I've drawn that a bit too narrow for my client. Let's make that slightly larger. The tricep is the only muscle at the back of the upper arm. And when the arm is in extension, if you go to extension again and contract, we can see the 2 heads here, lateral medial head, and then the long head, infraglenoid tubercle. I'm going to draw the deltoid. Now, deltoid comes from the Greek language delta, which is the sign, it means triangular. The deltoid is a huge muscle that caps the shoulder, and it has an attachment point on the spine and the scapula here, around the acromion process, a little bit on the clavicle. So that's its attachment fixed point. And then it comes down and caps over the top, down the humerus, onto that little ridge called the deltoid tuberosity. So it has an attachment point like so. Now, from this angle, you can see where the word triangle comes from, or its name comes from. There are posterior fibres here. We've got the middle fibres, and we've got the anterior fibres. And this muscle can work in 3 different areas and have 3 opposing movements. So we're going to have some medial rotation, lateral rotation, and abduction from the same muscle group. This is the biggest upper back and shoulder muscle, the trapezius. Again, from Greek language, it means the table-shaped muscle. It starts from the top on the occipital bone here, which I've drawn in white. So it has an attachment down the neck, all the way down to T12, which is down here. So the upper fibers of the trapezius, and they come down, they go over the top. So this muscle here, if you just lift your shoulders up for us so we can see them contract, can you see that nice upper traps and relax? It comes across and has an attachment point on the clavicle. It then has an attachment point along the spine of the scapula, and it comes from the acromion process and cuts halfway through that medial border. So it crosses around there before it gets quite narrow and has a quite small attachment at the bottom. So this huge muscle has upper fibres. It has the middle fibres, which go this way. And then it has the lower fibres, which will come this way. Lower fibres of the traps have some depression on the shoulder. The middle fibres of the traps will do some retraction, and the upper fibres again do that elevation, will lift the shoulder joint. There is also some slight extension at the neck as well. I'm going to draw the lats. Latissimus Dorsi means wide back, and we have a wide back in front of us. Bring your arm up for us here, and I'd like you just to push down on my arm. There we go. Can we see the lats here? So the main part of the lats that does movement is around the shoulder and attaches onto that medial border, but the fixed point is down here on the iliac crest. So it's a bit low for the drawing, but we're going to go, attachment point is around that crest. It comes all the way up to T7. T7 is level with that inferior angle, so around this area. So in red, and then it comes across, it clips over the bottom of that scapula, and it comes up this way, and then it has a big twist in the muscle, and the muscle goes underneath the arm. Okay, we can see it there, and the fibers are coming down this way. So this is the strong active part of the muscle. Okay, and it will go through here and attach onto the front surface of the humerus near the bicipital groove. So the main action would be adduction and also some medial rotation. Some anterior muscles. We've got a muscle that comes from the coracoid process, and it's quite a thin muscle, and it comes down here. It's for mainly shoulder flexion and attaches kind of the upper third of the humerus. So that is the Coracobrachialis muscle. Now the word brachial or brachial refers to the upper arm. So this muscle in itself tells you the 2 attachment points, the coracoid process and this brachial area for shoulder flexion. Another muscle that attaches onto the coracoid process here is the pec minor, pectoralis minor muscle. Now this lies underneath the pec major, it goes from there and it attaches onto, and I've drawn ribs 3, 4 and 5, so not the top 2. And it comes down, there's an attachment there, and an attachment like so. So this muscle, the pec minor, is for shoulder protraction. Our 4th rotator cuff muscle, which we can see from the front. Now, again, take all of this off because we're actually looking at the front surface of the scapula, which is here. but the only way I can really draw it is to imagine all that tissue is off here and we've got the front surface. Now it's opposite to the infraspinatus muscle. This is the subscapularis. It has an attachment on the whole front surface of the scapula, the subscapular fossa, and it comes across like so, up this way, and attaches onto the bicipital groove. So the fibers go this way, and that muscle is responsible for medial rotation of the humerus. Biceps brachii, which we think of mainly as elbow movement or elbow flexion, it also does shoulder flexion, so that's why it's also a shoulder muscle. Now, bi meaning two, there are two heads. One head is from coracoid process, and the other head is from the very top bit of the shoulder joint. Let me just show you on this one. Okay, so of the glenoid fossa, we have the lower bit and we have the upper bit. It's the supraglenoid tubercle. So we're going to draw that one first. From the supraglenoid tubercle, the long head goes through the joint that way, down that bicipital groove. This is the long tendon. The short tendon comes off the coracoid process this way. So those two tendons will unite to form this big bulging muscle on the front of the upper arm. As that muscle comes down, it will attach onto the head of the radius. So it crosses the joint there onto the radius. We're going to demonstrate how we can remember it goes onto the radius and not the ulna. Okay, so let's get our client to flex. And also from that position, if you can rotate your arm. So flex and rotate your arm at your forearm. Rotate, there we go. Now can we see, go back the other way. Can we see the movement of the bicep? Do that again. Okay, that shows you it attaches onto the radius because the radius is the bone for turning. So we've got Biceps brachii, the long head through the bicipital groove to the supraglenoid tubercle, and the short head up here onto the coracoid process. Pectoralis Major, big chest muscle here, has an attachment all the way down the sternum and costal cartilages of ribs 1 to 6. Now we can see the underlying surface here. It also goes 2/3 of the clavicle. So see how long the clavicle is, 2/3 would be from that position. And then the fibers come off down this way to that bicipital groove. So the same kind of groove that the bicep tendon fits in. So it's going to come across. Now, if we get our client to get into that position and just force against me, that whole tendon there is the pec major tendon. So it's coming down this way, like so. Now, the pec is an interesting muscle because it has this top part, the clavicular section, and then it has the sternal section. And for bodybuilders, they can be kind of worked separately, and you can see the definition of that. The Serratus Anterior muscle is a large muscle, but it's hidden underneath a lot of structures. So imagine that is on the back surface of my client. It comes from the medial edge here, the scapula, and it comes around the body. We're going to draw the end bits on as the insertion points, ribs 1 to 8. Now, the job of the Serratus Anterior is for protraction of the shoulder. So if you push against me, it's called the boxer's muscle, and you will see it as kind of finger-like projections around from the ribs this way. And on a boxer, if you got them to do this, you would just see it as 8 different fingers that come around. The end of that muscle then wraps around the body onto the front surface of the scapula. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please make sure you like and subscribe and share to other therapists, and also comment below.